Hello, everyone. Welcome to UPRE. We're going to do things a little differently. I'm running the show tonight. That's right. The part timer is in control, but we'll still have some fun, especially for tonight's movie. This was a fun ride. Uh, Indiana Jones Temple of Doom, early '80s movie. Action packed. Got the hero and the heroine. Kind of the damsel in distress thing this time, unlike the first movie. So interesting to get into it. You know, but without further ado, let's start the show.
If adventure has a name, it must be Indiana Jones. This is serious! From Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
All right, all right. Now, as a part timer, I am contractually obligated to not do this by myself. So I'm going to bring in my co host, E Boogie.
Good evening. How are you?
I am excellent, ready to dive into this fun roller coaster of a ride.
Awesome. Honestly, I'm impressed. You've really climbed up the ladder with UPRE very quickly. Like you're doing it, man. I'm impressed.
What can I say? What can I say? It's the hair.
Don't I know it?
Exactly. All right. So, Temple of Doom. This was a fun movie. I don't remember seeing this in the theater, but I do know that I saw it as a kid. So maybe on VHS. I'm not sure, but definitely do remember seeing this one.
Same.
It's
Same. My dad.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say my dad introduced me to Indiana Jones. I think he watched the TV show also. Like he was pretty into it, or maybe that's just in my mind. But that he is who showed me that series, and I'm also a big fan of Harrison Ford as well. So yeah, this was pretty cool.
I mean, this was the early '80s, so it would have been like 4 or 5. So I'm pretty sure I didn't see this in the theater. I'm pretty sure this was on TV by the time I saw it. But it was
on TV. Fun. Yeah, sorry.
It starts out with this nice opening act, and I know with the movies that we watch, you try to look at it with the lens of back then versus the lens of today. Because when I first saw this, and then the, clearly American actress, singer, just starts singing in, I'm guessing Mandarin or Chinese, and, it's a little off-putting, but I think about how in the Asian market, there are American actors that do Asian commercials and they love it. I remember seeing a commercial from, what is his name?
David Hasselhoff? No, that was German.
No, he was a sheriff in No Country for Old Men.
The sheriff? Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones. He did a coffee drink commercial in Japanese, and it's just it's so weird. You have to find the video. It's so when you see it, but I was like, makes sense. They bring in, a big star from the Americas to do their show in, China. So okay, I can see that, And then in comes Indy. Well, you don't see his face at first, but this is the main character. This is Indy. And he's got, the first time I recognize it as a Bond swagger. He's got the swagger of James Bond. And I'm really thinking to myself, you know what? This might be the Spielberg version of James Bond. I
I
think
mean,
it kind of has those aspects.
okay.
Because he's coming in as like this, he's in like a tux in a
Yeah.
nightclub, doing an exchange for some goods. This is like secret spy stuff, not an archaeologist,
Right. Okay.
So I'm thinking, okay, they've got like a Bond type of theme going here. But then he needs to take some pointers from Bond because he, during the exchange, the guy he's negotiating with, like the son, I think it was, that he had messed up the hand of because they tried to steal it from him. He puts a drink on the turntable and he drinks it. And I'm like, you can clearly see him put it on the turntable. He spins it around, gives it to him. And I'm like, why would you trust that?
Yeah, he's not cut out for this spy life. That did seem ill-advised, knowing that. And didn't they own the club?
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
I believe it was
like,
club.
Yeah, man. You just know a memo is in the kitchen area pinned to the wall saying this guy's coming tonight. Make sure his drink is spiked with you know what I mean?
Exactly. And then he takes the woman hostage to try to get what he wants. But then at this point, the boss has what he wants. So he's just like, you can have her. And I'm thinking, why would you just, try to fight that with somebody that they clearly don't even care about? Well, it looks like we're E-Boogie's having some technical difficulties here, so I'll just keep going. Yeah, you've got the person that doesn't even care about your hostage, and it really just goes to show that doesn't matter if you're a superstar or whatever, somebody's going to think that you are replaceable, and you just can't help that, regardless of who you are. So just something to keep in mind. Hopefully we can get E-Boogie back in here, but I'll just keep going. So, fast forward a little bit, he's fighting, and Indy is he's really progressive, because he is equal opportunity with his punches. He gets punched, he turns around and he punches a cigarette lady. It's wild. It was wild back then. Fast forward, he's trying to get the antidote. The lady's trying to get the diamond. Classic. It's going back and forth. You could, play the Benny Hill music, going back and forth with that. They get out of there. And again, it shows that he's not cut out to be 007 because he gets on the plane from a company that the people he's trying to escape from. It just makes no sense. But he's an archaeologist, so he just gotta let it roll. Then we fast forward. They're in the plane, sound asleep. Your pilots start dumping the fuel and jump out. And then when, I guess you could say he's creative because he gets the bright idea to get an inflatable raft and just say, screw it, let's jump out. You got no parachutes. What are you going to do? Go down with the plane? You got to do something. So, boom, you jump out. This whole movie is, it's definitely a wild ride. That's the thing that I took from this. It's a wild ride the entire time, and you do have to really suspend your belief when you're looking back on these early 80s, late 80s movies, because there are some things that they just hand wave that today's audience probably wouldn't let go. But moving on, They get to the village, and this is one of the things that I didn't really press in the first movie, but it definitely shows up here. Indy is a reluctant hero. In the first movie, he is only really going after the Ark because he wants to study it. The saving it, giving it away from the Nazis, that's secondary to him. When he talks about getting the Ark, it's, oh man, I'm going to get the Ark, not, oh, we got to stop the Nazis from getting the Ark. I mean, care less about the Nazis.
That's really no. I'm glad I'm back. Listen, that's not true. Okay.
Yes.
The whole
absolutely.
motivation was the moral high ground and taking out the Nazis. That was the whole thing. Everyone
the motivation was getting the Ark for the university.
No,
that was the motivation.
Maybe in the beginning, but even still,
I'm not saying that he didn't.
Was like ultimately, we can't let it land in the hands of evil.
As a secondary thing, that wasn't his main motivation. As a secondary thing, he was like, okay, yeah, we also got to stop the Nazis, but I'm really going after this because I want to study it. We get to this village. They're like, oh, this evil is taking over, this palace. They're snatching our kids. We need you to go help us out because you came from the sky and we pray for you. All that, he's like, yeah. But when the kid comes and shows, oh, there's a treasure, then he gets motivated. He didn't care a thing about those people until it was like, oh, there's some treasure I have to find, and I can study that.
Listen, this was a side quest, okay? This was not the route they were going. They were headed to Delhi, all right? They knew what they came for, right? They survived what they came for, and now he was ready to head on back, catch a plane, you know what I'm saying? Actually adhere to those after office hours for his students and like be the good professor you're supposed to be. This was fully like a side thing. So of course, yeah, I'm gonna look for some mutual benefits because I'm tired. I just got poisoned. I just fell on a mountainside. You know what I mean?
The mutual benefit was them saying, okay, we'll give you a guide to go to Delhi. We just need you to help out with this. And like, yeah, but our kids, yeah. Half-starving kid comes, there's treasure.
Yeah,
okay,
that was
you know what? Now I'm gonna help you out.
All right, well, come on. That was pretty strategic on their front, right? The skinniest, most sickly looking kid, help us, treasure. Of course, that's gonna, be the selling point at that point of the conversation.
All I'm saying is he's a reluctant hero. You can count on when the chips are down, but he's not going to start until he gets that.
No, hell no. He's grown, man. He's not Batman. He doesn't think that he doesn't have this God complex that he's the only person that can do these things. He doesn't have this whole white savior, like I've come with my education and whip to save this village. That's not what we're here. He's realistic, right? And once we see part 3, you'll see where he came from. Now he's like shifted into, he's a little bit more realistic, a little bit more of a cynic, right? And he's more, there's still selfless in there, but that's still like an ongoing life lesson that he has to have, this selflessness.
And I like that you brought up the point about him not being a white savior. You kind of see when he comes to the village, they're like, oh, white man, let me touch you.
Yeah, and it was giving Game of Thrones, Daenerys. Yeah.
Later on in the end, they're like, oh, thank you, white man, you saved our village. But it wasn't really I'm swooping in to try to save the day. It was like, okay, I'm saving the day, and I just happen to be white. So I do like that.
Yeah, Shout out Charmaine. Definitely agree. He was at his spray tanniest in this movie, and I really enjoyed that. It definitely feeds into the cheese factor and kind of the sleaze factor that we're touching on now.
I can't really hate on Harrison Ford's physique in this movie.
Not at all.
It wasn't. He had his. When he was had the blood of Christ, or the blood of the evil. Blood of the evil, whatever they
Kali.
There you go. The blood of Kali in him, and he was a zombified. He had his shirt off. I couldn't hate on that. He wasn't like the most physique, Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he was cut. He was lean.
Yeah, it was Gym Dad. It was giving Gym
Dad.
Dad.
He did his pumps, right before the movie. And he was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I got to go pump. Let's get these takes before this pump, wears off. And I can't be mad at that. He worked.
Yeah.
He worked.
He had the sweat dripping all over his body. And I was here. I was here and present. Yes.
Yes.
Pretty impressive stuff. What do you have to say about this lady, Willie? Did you touch on that during my technical difficulty?
Willie. So she was more of a damsel in distress than we had in the first one.
She's the exact opposite of Marion.
Yeah, she was, and she seemed to be slightly capable, but she was more like comic relief in this one. Which I thought would have been short round, but it was really her being like the comic relief. And I didn't really like that they shoehorned an attraction there. Like when they got to the palace, all of a sudden it was like, oh, let's get hot and heavy. But all the way up until that point, it was like, I hate your guts for, making this happen to me.
They had been through a lot just then, right? Plus he got that manly musk emanating off of him. She done taken a shower. She done slinked on her robe, you know what I mean? Her little slippery, slick pajamas, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, if the mood is striking.
I mean, he did bring her fruit, and she wasn't able to eat the monkey brains and the snake surprise. That was
man. What a surprise! Like not a delightful one either.
I remember seeing this as a kid and thinking, okay, and he talks about you got to respect, other people's culture and their food. I just thought to myself, as a kid, I was like, I'm never going to be in a place where there's going to be food that I have to turn down, because all of that I would have been turning down.
Even Anthony Bourdain would have turned down the snake surprise. That was crazy. That was pretty wild. Maybe not the brain, maybe not the beetles, but the baby snakes, lizard, giant leech babies. Yo, that was crazy, man. Come on, man. And real quick, is monkey brain sweet? Because if it's not, what kind of dessert is that? You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
can you blend it with some sugar, some dates? What'd you say?
I'm thinking it must be some kind of sweetness to it. If it was dessert.
I hope. I would have tried the monkey brains. Everything else, though, they got that. Mm-hmm. No beetles for me. I'm sorry.
I don't think I could have stomached trying it.
If it was warm, no. If it was well, he said it was chilled.
It was chilled, yeah.
Brain. And when he took it, it looked like raspberry lemonade sorbet. So I mean, I might be adventurous and try that. And I have had Indian food that's like was so freaking good. It's just, the more obscure, like that's like some deep mountains. You know what I'm saying?
That's like locals that haven't seen the white person.
Yeah, I mean, it's very jungle to table. You know what I'm saying?
Jungle to table.
It's jungle to table, which is good for the ecosystem, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I draw the line at bugs. Speaking of bugs, the trap room with the lever and the insects is the stuff of my nightmares. For real.
You think that was worse than the snake scene in the first
Hell one? Yes. Hell yes. Because at least with a snake bite, that, well, where he was, the venom was set in quick and you're just dead. Yes, it will be extremely painful, but you can also like dodge it. Yeah, they didn't do that much to escape that trap. these bugs, they had to endure the bugs. Willie had to endure the bugs in order to free them. And had I been Willie, I might have, you know, let them die. I might have let them die. Yeah, not on purpose. Not on purpose. It would take me that long to reach in there. Because did you see when she reached in? I had to rewind that part.
A slimy membrane.
Yes, it was more like something from Aliens. I was like, what's going on? It was kind of green and black and just reflective. That was not. There was a little noise in it when she. It was just too much for me. I couldn't.
The trap was overkill anyway. Why do you need to crush and impale?
They were just getting creative. I think they had money to spend, so they just spent it.
Yeah, the first one had some money to
spend. Did you see
that?
They had the holes in, like, it was like a recess hole for when the spike comes up, the spike that has the head on it. Mm-hmm. So, you know, those heads were planted. That was like for scary effect. You know what I'm saying?
You don't think those were actual victims? You think once they said them, someone came in there, was like, okay, next person, we're really going to scare them. Let's take some of these skulls, let's put them down in there.
Nah, yo. And if it was real victims, it's the people that they the enslaved people that they had building that shit, and they had to test it out real quick. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure they got their money's worth.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Moving on to the little enslaved part, you know, that was also wild. Like, you know, all those kids, and when they finally freed them, it made me think about this old, you know, meme of how many second graders can you fight in waves of 10 with a fifth grader, you know, coming every fifth grade a wave. And I'm like, you know, I used to think, oh, you know, I could fight a bunch of, you know, second graders, you know, if they come out 10 at a time. But, you know, after they were jumping all those guards, now I kind of think twice about it. You know, those kids can be rambunctious.
My question back to the asker of that scenario is, 1, do they have weapons? 2, can I have a weapon? And 3, if I am able to neutralize 1 or 2 of the first round of kids, can I then use them as a weapon?
You gotta take a mofo and hit them with a mofo.
You know what I'm saying? Swing it like, you know, from the Matrix 2, just swing them all around.
I mean, the guards,
knock out 10 right there, just like that.
The guards had weapons and the kids didn't, and they still jumped over top of them. They swarmed them.
And they were starving kids.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Well, you know, it might have been that last rush right before you pass out from starvation. Just on that adrenaline.
The last bit of energy.
Yeah, just put your all into it. Ah! No, but they should have died. But that's cool that they didn't. I was pleased with that ending. My heart wouldn't have been able to take anything else. It was pretty rough already, seeing the circumstances that these children were in. I will say this. I'm glad we only saw adults suffer the Kali Ma sacrifice.
Yeah.
Because if this movie was made today, we would have had to watch a kid suffer that
the audience
sacrificial ritual. That would have been rough.
They would have said, oh yeah, the audience can handle, you know, some kids being slaughtered. Let's throw that in there.
Yeah, but this wouldn't be that. Then this wouldn't be a Steven Spielberg movie. It'd probably be Ari Aster, maybe Jordan Peele. I don't know. I don't think he's ready to go that edgy. Point being, this movie cannot be made today. But like you said, it's something that you have to look through that 80s lens. And this movie is the perfect personification of action, adventure, thriller. That's a little edgy, but still feels a bit family friendly if you do one of these. Really just on certain parts. But okay, so we talked about the food, dinner, we talked about the bugs. Are you ready to talk about these body effects, these special effects?
Oh, the special effects. So the green screen shows his age.
Yes, it does.
it really every time they used the green screen, it was taking me out because it was just so.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it was. It was the beginnings of movie. You can't have something like that in high def. And the way I saw it was kind of high def, and back then, oh yeah, it was great. Oh, that was lifelike. But now, not so much. The practical effects, at the end when the water was going through the cart ride through the mines, that looked good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Practical effects are always good in this series, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, the fall from the plane with the blow up boat.
Yeah.
The stunt. Did you get a good glimpse of those stuntmen? Because there's a grown ass man playing Willie. What'd you say?
I saw someone's head in there when it was spinning around.
Listen, that was a grown ass man in a blonde wig. All right, and I was fine with that. It's just with my adult eyes, it's like I'm catching these things, and it's just just in that moment, it's just a little
jumping out of a plane with an inflatable raft.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was Mission Impossible level. I was impressed with that.
I think that was beyond Mission Impossible.
All right, relax. No slander for Ethan Hunt. Thank you.
I mean, hey, I love Mission Impossible. I just think that it was a little bit too unrealistic.
Oh, this was the raft?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. I mean, so the first fall of the raft it felt opportune that the plane was so close to the ground. So it seemed like, okay, plausible. It fell hard. They're hurt, but they held on. So it's going to be okay. It's when it fell off the cliff into the water.
Yeah.
That had me like, you know what? Now you're trying to suspend animation, and this is not, come on. What are we watching here, man?
But everything else in the special effects, like I said, the practical stuff was great. But yeah, the green screen, I could just tell every time, and it kind of threw me out. But I still let it go because the adventure was still fun.
Yeah. Yeah. This movie felt very big. It felt very Hollywood. It started off with a dance number. I'm wondering if those were actual showgirls. For sure.
That seemed like a real production.
Oh yeah, it was serious choreo happening.
On Broadway, at any point, or casino or something.
Agreed. Chinese Rockettes. They were on it.
They were on it.
Okay, now did the heart transplant, did that impact you as a child? Did you feel the fear of God?
As a child, yes. As me seeing it now, it was just funny.
Wow.
Seeing it again, I didn't realize that the wound closed after he took it out. I thought it was just a hole. I remember it just being a hole, but it closed up. It was
the magic of Kali.
And it was like, I didn't even understand the point of it because you're sacrificing them anyway, and it's going to burn. It burned just like they did. So what was really the point of taking it out? I think it was just a way to show, he has this ability. So when they were on the hanging ladder later, he could use that to try to, fight Indy. But it just didn't make any sense in the moment.
Yeah, it was especially gory for no reason.
It's cultist. What are you gonna do?
Well, this guy the cult leader seems like someone that is passionate about dramatics. So,
I mean, he definitely had the headdress for it.
How about his quick escape once Indy fell out of the
little thing under the statue? He's just laying there, what's up? Oh, you coming for me? Nope.
That was crazy, yo. I've never seen I that impressed me. That
was,
you can build a stone trap door like that. I was impressed.
I mean, that's Batman level prep right there.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes. You know what? I don't know. This everything I wanted to hate about this film or hate on about this film upon a rewatch, I was feeling it. I'm not gonna lie. I think it deserves a deeper dive before people cast judgment on it. I do see where there are problems, both socially and special effectly. Also, a bit with the script. Everything that came out of Willie's mouth was insufferable for me. For me. But yeah, I think this movie has redeemed some of the qualities that I've always despised about it. Just with a simple Google, like this cult goddess that they worship is a true Hindu god. Even that, and knowing that the depiction that they were showing of this mountain people cult felt like it could be rooted in some reality. When before I knew that, it felt very like this feels very pointed. Like what are we trying to summarize and say here, Mr. Spielberg? But yeah, I think it redeemed some of those qualities. There are still problems, but I would love to hear what your thoughts are, because we done wrapped a long time, man. We're having a good time.
Yeah, we have, and yeah, I think it is about time to wrap it up. And yeah, final thoughts on this. I thought that there was a good. They kind of made a parallel between Short Round and Indy. You know, there's a couple of points where they were kind of both doing the same thing. You know, when Indy was getting a spiel about, you know, the palace, Short Round was there with his hat on, doing the same motions. When Indy's fighting the big guard near the end, punching him, Short Round's punching the little kid as well in the same way. So I thought that was kind of cool the way that they played that off. You know, I thought it was funny how, you know, the British came at the very end with the superior firepower. You know, you don't bring bows and arrows to a gunfight. I thought that was pretty cool that they kind of showed that, you know, how they portrayed taking that over and, you know, giving it that historical, you know, grounded in reality type of feel. But overall, this was a fun ride. I think that, you know, like you said, there are some things that could need to be updated. You know, today's viewer may have to, you know, kind of push some things or modern sensibilities aside to be able to enjoy it. But I still think overall, with the action and the story, you know, everything, that it was a thumbs up for me.
Oh, okay. So back to me. You know, I spent a long time defending this series, particularly because of the impression that this installment left with people and the general public, really. The audience that this series is for has spoken, and we all have agreed that this is the worst of this original trilogy. I do want to add that I am biased because the first three films, or sorry, the first and the third film do incorporate very Christian relics and are rooted in a lot of the Christian religion and things that I know and recognize as a Christian person. So of course, it's like this is gonna have a little bit more allure to me. Finding, you know, the the Da Vinci Code of the Bible, the Bible stories, right? It's like the
Right.
secret adventure, the chalice that Jesus drank from, spoiler alert. Just that whole general thing. So this movie being completely off and away from that and separated from that entirely, in addition to stylistically being quite different, or starting quite differently, just felt like a one-off and felt like a full derailment of what I came here for. That being said, I'm grown now. I've been on this planet over 3 decades, and watching this movie again as an adult with adult experiences and the ability to Google, do my own research, the ability to use my resources to better understand what it is I'm watching before I cast judgment on it, I can say I did enjoy this movie. I was fully prepared to come in here and give it a thumbs down, but unfortunately, I think I have been convinced it's a thumbs up for me. I would watch this movie again. And to me, that is the ultimate, victory, because they changed my mind.
Okay.
I don't want us to go anywhere yet. I do want to assert that we will be back on Thursday. And for the month of June, we are reviewing bad movies that we love. This Thursday, right? Who's your Kadai?
Kadai.
Who's your Kadai?
It's who's your
Kadi? Anywho,
Kadai?
who's your Kadrick? Who's your Kadrick? They're on the golf course. Shouldn't you say the whole name? Kadrick.
I mean,
Kadrickson.
I didn't know that Caddy had a full name.
That's his government name. Everybody doesn't know him like that, so
Okay.
you're just not on that level with it. But
I just
this
know
Thursday,
Caddy from around the way.
this this Thursday, we don't talk about him. We're not allowed to talk about him. All right, he's laying low right now. This Thursday, who's your caddy? If that was incorrect, Chris, don't kill me. I'm sorry. We hope you'll come and join us then again for Who's Your Caddy. Are you ready to take us out, Doctor?
I believe I am. Listen, this was great. Thank you for joining me. Thank you all out there in cyberspace for sticking with us. And we will see you next time right here on Unpopular Reviews. Have a great night.
Bye.